Alright, Shalom. First and foremost, on the game, I'm giving all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to the brothers laboring worldwide. And a hearty Shalom and salutations to the believers out there who's believing on the words of Yahweh Shai in truth and in sincerity. The title of this lesson is going to be was Covid19 created for Israelites? All right. And seen a brother do a video on this earlier, and I did a little research, got a couple articles in this video, and we're going to filter it through the scriptures. Lord willing, it's edifying. So let's get into it.
One thing we don't have is any official statistics that show the coronavirus toll by demographic. But in some communities, the pandemic appears to be disproportionately affecting people of color. Our national correspondent, Jerika Duncan, has been looking into this. Jerika, good morning. We heard David Begnaud report earlier today that he observed mostly black men in the ICU in the hospital where he was. Very interesting finding there. What have you found?
Well, it's no secret, Tony, that African Americans have a higher rate of things like diabetes, asthma, hypertension, those underlying conditions that we talked about that have led to the deaths of people with coronavirus. And because of that, one local health commissioner who calls racism a public health issue says she's taking the lead by collecting important information that she says could help save lives.
We're in the middle of the storm right now. We need as much data as possible. Right now, we're flying blind.
Milwaukee Health Commissioner Jeanette Kowalik is overseeing roughly 1 million residents in Milwaukee County.
Of the 40 people who have died so far because of the coronavirus in your county, what percentage of those people are Black?
Right now, it's still about 80%.
African Americans make up 26% of the population?
Correct.
Right now, the CDC is not collecting data on the race of those who've tested positive or died from coronavirus.
It's important to actually document the race of the people who are infected and dying.
Everyone will be affected by this, but there are some communities and populations that are going to be affected even more significantly.
Dr. Uche Blackstock is founder and CEO of Advancing Health Equity in New York City.
The reason why we need to really discuss this issue and to collect the racial and ethnic demographic data on who is tested, who has the disease, and on who's dying from it is so that we can properly allocate healthcare resources equitably to the communities that need it.
Dr. Blackstock also works part-time at urgent care facilities in Brooklyn.
Can you describe the makeup of the people in your waiting room right now?
We're noticing more Black and brown and immigrant patients that are seeking care. And a lot of these patients are essential workers. A lot of them are service workers.
She says testing is still not readily available.
How many COVID-19 tests are you all able to give each day?
We are instructed that we probably should not test more than 1 in 10 patients.
So 10%.
Exactly.
No more than 10% of the people that come through there every day.
Our criteria is really, we're focusing on the highest risk patients.
CBS News contributor Ibram X. Kendi is also director of the Anti-Racist Policy Center at American University.
If we don't have an awareness right now of racial disparities, we can't right now figure out what's causing those racial disparities. What policies or even lack thereof, and we can't change it right now in the moment when people are dying and being infected.
And according to a new report by WBEZ Public Radio in Chicago, an analysis of the county found that 70% of people in Chicago who have passed away because of coronavirus are Black. And you're talking about nearly 300 deaths right now in the whole state of Illinois because of coronavirus. But definitely important information when you look at how we track other diseases, other viruses, and this being a pandemic. I'm sure there are a lot of people that are hungry for that information right now.
I'll say, Jerika, this is such an important story. We've heard this saying all the time, knowledge is power, and all of your experts seem to say that you need more information to know exactly what you're dealing with and how we need to fight it. So glad that you were raising this issue. Thank you very much, Jerika Duncan, reporting from her home, too.
Thank you.
All right. Now, you heard it, man. Why are 70% of so-called African Americans, which are Israelites, all right, why are they dying of this COVID-19 virus? Why is it so disparaging? Now, you heard the lady talk about so-called African Americans, so-called black people have a lot of underlining diseases, right? Well, why is that? Well, it goes back to the curses. The curses of Yahweh Shah. The curses that he put on us for what? Going off. All right? Matter of fact, I got 2 articles, but let's get this scripture. Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. And first, let's start at 15. All right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord Yahweh Shah thy power, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes which I commanded thee this day, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. All right? Let's jump to verse 59. Because they was wondering, man. They was questioning, well, why is this and why is that? Well, the scriptures answer your questions. All right? This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 59. Then the Lord, Yahweh Shah, will make thy plagues wonderful, and the plagues of thy seed, even great plagues, and of a long continuance, and sore sickness, and of a long continuance. Moreover, he will bring upon thee all the diseases of Egypt, which thou wast afraid of, and they shall cleave unto thee. Also, every sickness and every plague, which is not written in the book of this law, them the Lord Yahweh Shah will bring upon thee, until thou be destroyed. You see that? So these things are sent from who? Yahweh Shah. All right? Whether it's Esau fabricating this, making this disease, or it was, came through China, guess what? Is meant to be scourges to the children of Israel, man. All right? Why do you think the CDC is not tracking the race of people who contracted or died from this disease? Right? Well, guess what? They want to keep things hidden. All right? So the Israelites who understand they're Israelites, right, won't repent faster, won't get in line with their power. All right? And this is the works of who? Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah. All right? I got 2 articles queued up. All right? One for Business Insider and one from the New York Times. Let's take a look. All right? African Americans, so-called African Americans, seem to be dying of the coronavirus at outsized rates, based on the few states providing data of race victims. And this was written April 6, 2020, year of prophecy. All right? And those underlying disease, man, what they go back to? It goes back to the curses, because we don't want to follow the dietary law, man. We want to eat all type of abomination, right? These are the bullet points that we're going to get. We're not going to read the article. Lord willing, I'll leave these articles in the description box. It says the coronavirus pandemic has hit the African American community hard. Harder than the general U.S. population, early Dallas data suggests. Michigan, Illinois, and North Carolina are the only states that have publicly broken down the data of coronavirus infections and deaths of race, right? It says experts believe poverty and lack of health care are hampering the fight against COVID-19 in the African American community, right? Those underlining things, right? Let's see if anything in here. Let's see. Two experts have suggested that the virus, two experts have suggested the virus is having a starker effect on African Americans because people in the demographic are much more likely to live in poverty and to be in ill health, both which can exacerbate COVID-19. Well, guess what? That goes back to the curses, man. The curses of Yahweh Shah. All right, he said he's going to start at the house of the Lord, right? The house of the Most High. Says new data from Michigan shows African Americans are 14% of the population, 1.4 million, but suggests 40% of the coronavirus deaths, but represent 40% of the coronavirus deaths in the state. So you only 14% of the population, but the deaths that's going on in the state, you're 40%. All right? And that's the title of this lesson. Was Covid-19 created for Israelites, right? And that's enough on that. Let's get this other article. Right? This is the New York Times, and it's an opinion piece. The racial time bomb in the COVID-19 crisis. Pre-existing health conditions leave one group particularly vulnerable, right? And why are these preconditions, man? Because we don't want to obey the laws of Yahweh Shah, right? It says early Monday morning, the email arrived. The subject line began, alarm at the gate. At the gate, right? We cried the gate day and night, man. All right? Says written in all caps. Now, why is that there? Alarm at the gate. And you looking through this through spiritual eyes, man. We've been putting this alarm up, telling our people to come back to the laws of their Heavenly Father, man, to get right, right? We've been sounding the alarm, starting with our apostles and elders on down, man. All right, for 35 plus years. All right? It says written in all caps, someone has died. That is always what the phrasing means. Wow. Now, I've never known that. It says the message came via a group email list maintained by a fraternity I joined in college some 30 years ago. You see, he joined a damn fraternity, a Greek tradition, something the custom of the heathen. Hey, once again, man, we don't want to follow the laws of our Heavenly Father. All right? And guess what? It's spirits created for vengeance. All right? Enough of the articles. Let's get into the scriptures. This is Ecclesiasticus, chapter 39 and verse 28. There be spirits that are created for vengeance, which in their fury lay on sore strokes. In the time of destruction they pour out their force, and appease the wrath of him that made them. Fire and hail, famine, and death, all these were created for vengeance. Teeth of wild beasts, and scorpions, serpents, and the sword punishing the wicked to destruction. Yeah, man. Death is created for vengeance, right? Hail, famine, all these things are spirits that's created for vengeance, right? It says they shall rejoice in his commandment, and they shall be ready upon earth when need is. And when their time is come, they shall not transgress his word. Yeah, man. All right, who's to say those brothers in Chicago has been preaching the words of Yahweh Shah for a long time, man. All right, from various groups. All right, who's to say that those victims that died of the so-called coronavirus, right, did not hear the word of salvation, man? We know they have. All right, why? Because things are speeding up, man. All right, you see Esau trying to have his agenda, right, come to fruition. We see that. So whoever died from whatever underlying disease that was brought on by the COVID-19, right? Guess what? It was the work of Yahweh Shah. All right? Let's go to 1 Peter. Hey, judgment must begin at the house of the Lord, right? 1 Peter chapter 4 and verse 17. For the time is come that judgment must begin at the house of the Most High. And if it first begin at us, what shall the end be of them that obey not the gospel of the Most High? For if the righteous scarcely be saved, where shall the ungodly and sinner appear? Right? So, guess what, man? These things are sent as scourges. All right? And those who have eyes to see and ears to hear, man, pay attention to what's going on. All right? There's a reason why that they're not reporting the racial makeup of these deaths, man. The racial makeup, right, of who's actually contracting this disease. All right? Let's go to Zephaniah. This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 1 and verse 12. And it shall come to pass at that time that I will search Jerusalem with candles, and punish the men that are settled on their leaves, that say in their heart, the Lord Yahweh Shah will not do good, neither will he do evil. Yeah, man. Our people don't understand, man. All right? They're rested on their leaves. They don't understand Yahweh Shah kills and he makes alive. Right? Matter of fact, let's go get that. This is Deuteronomy chapter 32 and verse 39. See now that I am he, and there is no power with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver out of my hand. See that? So it's the Most High who's orchestrating this all on the left-hand side and the right-hand side, man. All right? And that's why you need to fear Yahweh Shah, man. All right? These things that he's done, once again, because our people, you know, having these underlying diseases, right, for not following the law. Matter of fact, let's go get that. Let's go get the law, man. Because what? These things were was done so for our good, right? Let's go to Leviticus 11. I'm going to start at verse 8. You know what? Verse 7. Because our people love that fucking pig, man. They love the swine, man. Ain't giving up my bacon. What that nigga Booster say? That dude said he shot a finger at the Most High, man. Right? Over some damn swine, man. Right? This is Leviticus chapter 11 and verse 7. And the swine, though he divideth the hoof, and be cloven-footed, yet he cheweth not the cud, he is unclean to you. Yeah, most of those diseases come from eating the pork. You know, your heart disease, your high blood pressure, your gout, right? These things come from eating that nasty, unclean beast. All right? Other things come from eating crawfish, you know, shrimp, crab, lobster, right? Of their flesh shall ye not eat, of their carcasses shall ye not touch. They are unclean to you. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters. Whatsoever have fins and scales in the waters, in the seas, and in the rivers, them shall ye eat. And all that have not fins and scales in the seas and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, and of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you, right? they shall be even an abomination unto you. Ye shall not eat of their flesh, but ye shall have their carcasses in abomination. You see that? So it was plainly made known to the Israelites, man, what you are supposed to eat and what you are not supposed to eat. So when you have these underlying disease, and whether it was Esau or Yahweh shot himself, but we know he worked everything on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. However it came about, guess what? It was meant to punish the Israelites. Obviously, this information is coming out for a reason, man. There's nothing by happen chance, nothing by coincidence. All right? And, you know, he instructed us to keep these commandments, Salakia, for our good, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 10 and verse 12. And now, Israel, what doeth the Lord thy power require of thee? But to fear the Lord Yahweh Shah thy power, to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord Yahweh Shah thy power with all thy heart and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord and his statutes which I command thee this day for thy good. See that? So it was meant for our good. But 2/3 of our people, man, they're not going to come back to Yahweh Shah. They're not going to try and search out the old paths, right? They want to still be rested on their leaves, still believe you can eat anything you want to eat, and the Most High is going to be pleased with you. No, he's not. Let's go to Jeremiah. And we'll close it out on this. Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Shah, stand ye in the ways, and seek and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way? And walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. Yeah, man, 2/3 of our people said they're not going to walk in the ways of Yahweh Shah. They're going to continue to trust in oppression, continue to follow the ways of Esau Edom, which is the so-called white man. All right? That's going to be it for the lesson. Lord willing, it's been edifying. I want to give all praise, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakah Kadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Much respect to the brothers laboring worldwide and the heart of Shalom. To the believers out there who's believing on the words of Yahweh Shai in truth and sincerity. Coming at you again with another lesson, Lord willing. Till the next time I say Shalom.